Okay, so I want your genuine reaction to this, so we're just going to use this as the opening. So we go to soundcloud.com.
Right.
And I want you... We got another follower.
All right.
So if we go to profile...
Yeah.
And we look at our followers...
We have 4 of them.
We have 4 of them. This lady followed us, but I want you to pay something like very specific. She also liked our episode. She's our latest like, but she liked our 7th episode. And do you see kind of a trend in her over 1,000 likes?
Everything's just got a 7 in it.
Yeah.
Why?
And she liked our 7th episode. Now, if we go back to our other followers, our follower we shouted out last time, Tamara.
Right.
She liked our 6th episode.
What?
With over 1,000 likes.
All the 6 episodes.
Look.
Yeah.
It's the best we've got, so we're
so
happy.
We can confirm they are not real people.
Yes.
But what about Lee Ho?
Lee Ho has always been real.
Yeah.
And at the same time, always not been real.
He's always been real, and he's always favorited everything. It's just we have a problem, and it never shows up.
Yeah, okay.
We know that he's favorited every episode.
So, Shauna and Tamara are probably not real.
Like most women.
Yes, but that's a bad comment. But we are still happy to have them because, and like, any fan is still a fan. So...
What if they're just mean?
Well, that is still a fan.
Just,
hurtful to us, like the people in our lives. Okay,
oh.
Didn't mean to start off depression. So let's just get this. Let's just roll.
100 years rolling on.
100 years. Welcome to the 100 Years podcast with Brooks and Zach. I'm Brooks,
and he's Zach. Wait, I'll get it right one of these 100 years.
No, you won't.
You're probably
We're here to talk about movies, TV shows, books,
this intro is not
comic books, video games,
I don't know if
other things that we like.
This intro does not work well. I think we should change it eventually.
What's wrong with it?
We'll discuss this later at the coffee convention. By coffee convention, I mean when we go upstairs and you drink coffee and I watch.
I don't want to go to the coffee convention.
We're gonna go to that coffee convention. We already bought tickets.
Shit. Shit.
That happens a lot.
Shit. Okay, continue.
No, go ahead. So what do we? Do we jump into news first? I can never remember the layout because a week goes by. And I'm a goldfish.
We're aping the style of another popular podcast, so it's news, topic, what you've been keeping up with, you and me.
100 years.
100 years.
I can't imagine somebody listening to this whole intro segment and going, "Wow, these guys got it together."
Yeah, these are two people who can maintain a working podcast that'll be able to entertain at least one person.
All right, let's just mix things up a bit. Here's the scenario: we're both in cubicles, and I need a stapler. Hey, give me the stapler.
No.
Why not? Look.
I'm using the stapler.
Look, Janine is going to be on my ass all day today.
Janine is not in charge of my department. She's in charge of your department.
Yeah,
she has no sway over
we are
me.
one cubicle away. My department and your department are coexisting right now.
It's not my fault.
What about the merger? Synergies.
It's not my fault. There's still a border. It's not my fault that we both have cubicles on the border.
All right. All I need is your stapler, and I will get back on my side of the cubicle, and thus my side of the border.
I don't want to give you my stapler.
Is it 'cause I'm black?
No, it is in spite of the fact that you're black.
We'll talk about this at the coffee convention.
I don't want to go to the coffee convention. See, the main reason I'm giving you my stapler, I'm not going to give you my stapler, is because I only have one staple in it. Well, and I have lots of papers. I have lots of packets.
Okay.
I only have one staple in each of my staplers. I need to use the staplers.
So what you're saying is that you've got a gun and you're going up against 1 billion people. But you only got one bullet.
No.
Meanwhile, I have to go up against one guy, and all I need is one bullet. So who do you think that's going to help more?
Well, it's not going to help me.
It's not, but I'll be alive.
The thing is, the problem is, I don't have one gun with one bullet. I have several guns with one bullet in each of them.
Are you sure?
Yes. Look at my desk. Look at all those staplers.
Why can't I just have one of these?
Because I need them.
Do they all have only one staple in them?
Yes, and I have an equal number of packets to staple as there are staplers on my desk.
All you have is a bobblehead.
Look at this! Look at those papers! I need to staple all of them, and I only have the staples.
Where did you pull those papers from?
Under my desk.
That's a lot of space. I don't have any leg room.
Hey, have you ever seen Harry Potter?
Yes.
And you know the bag that Hermione has, where you can just reach your arm in and pull out a million things?
Yeah?
Yeah, that's my desk.
I'm just gonna take one of these staplers.
Nope. Let it go. Let it go. Off. Bad.
Look, you're giving me bad juju. I think I'm going to have to place a curse on you if you do not give me the stapler.
Look.
I will call Tim from accounting. He knows how to do juju curses.
Okay, look. Listen. My only argument is...
And scene. There we go. That is what we call the office time stapler segment.
Are we just gonna keep inventing new segments for the...
What do you mean? It's every day it's the same segment over and over. Life has no meaning.
We should do that. We should just invent segments. You know? Our reoccurring segment, this thing. And we just talk about whatever we want.
Well, we always have a set... We follow the script, Brooks. We have to read the script word for word each time. We have a script? It's the one in front of you. You even just said, we have a script. Oh, shit. See?
There's a script
We're professionals. We're just reading this whole script.
Why does the script say everything I'm thinking of saying right now?
Now turn the page.
Oh my god.
Perfect. You delivered it well.
Why is it... Hang on. I'm flipping... Hang on, let me take the script. I'm flipping through it. I'm flipping... Why does the last page say, parentheses, italicized words, Brooks dies violently?
Look,
Close parentheses.
Look, I didn't write the script. Ignore the fact that it says written by Zach.
But it's already predicting everything that's happening.
No. Look. You never skip to the end of the story. Just give me the script, and look, it's just... Well, I can't tear it. There's a lot of pages. But just take my word for it. It doesn't matter. We already have it memorized. All right? Okay?
I don't know how I feel about this.
I do. It's fine. Let's just move on. What do you have for the news today, Brooks?
Hang on. Let me pull up the news. We try not to break the fourth wall, but we already have.
Multiple times.
I don't know what these segments are new to me. I don't know what brought about them, but I'm rolling with it.
I don't know what brought about the podcast.
This is probably our worst podcast so far.
Look.
I don't have any news, by the way.
You don't have any news? Why'd you stall so much?
To try to find news.
All right. Well, we
Pacific Rim 2 has been delayed.
Yes, it has.
That's my news. That's sad.
What was the plot of it or anything like that? Did anybody know? There were no rumors or leaks about anything?
Not really. I'm just sort of sad for Guillermo del Toro because he's had stuff delayed and canceled and everything.
Oh.
He keeps trying to get both Hellboy 3 and At the Mountains of Madness made.
I still need to see Pan's Labyrinth.
It's really good.
That's what I keep hearing. It's got David Bowie in it and everything.
It's really good.
Is that a good David Bowie impression? I don't know. I haven't really heard him.
Close enough. Do you have any news?
I mean, it's not recent news, but it's just something I found out. It's like Microsoft's Holo-lens. You know anything about that?
No, I do not. Please indulge me and, through the transitive property, the listeners.
So it was at like E3 2015. I don't know how long ago that was.
That was a few months.
A few months? Okay. So they like kind of showcased their new tech, which was kind of... please close your legs. It's just such a weird, seductive position. You're not in any better position just presenting yourself like that. All right, I'm going to ignore it.
Listeners, for those who don't know, Zach is merely on like a metal chair.
I'm always just like on the chair and you're laying on the couch.
I have a couch that I'm
with
on.
Several blankets of Egyptian silk.
I'm able, yes, nice silk blankets.
Fancy.
I'm able to actually lay down on the couch and relax and everything.
And I'm always here just like, God damn it, Brooks.
I should take my allergy medicine. I sniffle too much in the podcast.
And in life.
And
during the coffee conferences.
Just talk about the fucking HoloLens.
Okay, maybe I would.
This is too off the rails.
Okay, so the HoloLens. It was kind of like the Oculus Rift, like, you put the headset on kind of thing, except sunglasses. So you can, like, you can see the real world. You're like, oh, hey, look, there's a wall there and everything like that. Except now you can just be like, oh, hey, start menu. And then you can pull up YouTube, throw it on the wall, and, like, make it the size of the wall or something like that, and just watch it on your fancy big screen TV, and you're the only one who can see it, and it's like got the headphones in your ears, and you're the only one who can hear it.
So you're the crazy man laughing at a wall.
Yes, but like other people can have the headsets on too and stuff, and I imagine you can link it together. So all you guys are just like, "Yo, dude, you want to watch Mad Max Fury Road? Heck yeah, dude!" And like three guys are just like sitting on a couch watching a blank wall, and then the mother comes in, and they're all like, "Yeah!" They're like, "What are they? What the fuck?
Witness me!
Witness me, blood bag!" And it's just like, what's going on? And
I
then
love that movie.
the mother just goes into the kitchen like, oh, these kids and their technology. And she like stops for a second while she's cutting the celery to go. And she looks at the knife. And then she shakes her head dismissively and goes back to cutting the vegetables.
She's just like, these kids, these crazy kids and their fancy technology. I remember back in my day when we had the iPods that could only hold a few thousand songs.
Okay. Well, hold on. Actually, going to that, what is like the earliest time you can remember like the iPod or whatever? Because I remember the first thing I had was like the circular MP3, and it played like only 20 songs, but they were all the songs I listened to.
I don't remember exactly what point in my life I started noticing them, but they just kind of showed up, the little ones.
The Nanos?
Not the Nanos, but you know how iPods were small?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the ones that were just the screen that only played music, and you
Yeah.
had like the... Yeah, I remember that too, because my friend, who was like, he was that friend who was kind of rich and spoiled a bit, and like, you know, we're middle class. We get like, we get enough, we get by.
Yeah,
We have to earn our stuff. We gotta, once we get the new technology, we're like, sweet, and then newer technology comes out, we're like, well, fuck it, I'm stuck with this for the next 5 years. But, yeah, he had the new iPod at the time.
I'm gonna cut that. I did it extreme so I could cut it more easily.
Do you want to go take your allergy medicine?
No.
You should probably take your allergy medicine.
I'll be fine for the rest of the podcast.
Why do you just like want to lace it
I don't know where it is.
You don't know? I lost it in a fever dream last night, so I lost it in real life.
I've been sick for the past week, listeners.
Oh, so that's what's up with you?
No.
No, I don't know what's up with
Please continue.
What was I talking about?
You were talking about your rich, spoiled friend and his iPod.
Right, so he just pulls it out. He's like, look, dude, it's got like 150 songs on it or something like that. And I was like, that's so many songs. He's like, and I can watch a video on it. And it's like this little, like, 3 inches by 4 inches screen that he's just watching all what was popular back then.
Do you know
Wicker Man or something?
Wicker Man?
Yeah.
Hey, kids, let's all get together and watch Wicker Man.
One of my teachers claims that that's a really great movie.
The original is from the 1970s.
No, the one with Nick Cage.
Oh, well, then your teacher's wrong.
Wait, so there was
if she means he or she, I don't know which.
He's my acting teacher.
He's
really nice.
If he thinks it is one of the greatest comedies of the last few years...
He enjoys watching it, is what he said.
See, yeah, there's a very big difference with... I'm sorry, I'm a movie nerd, I guess, movie buff.
Don't limit yourself to just movies.
Okay,
Nerd.
fine. I am a nerd, but especially for movies and everything. So about like making movies and stuff. Enjoying a movie is not the same as it being good.
I mean, you can enjoy the movie, sure, but it sucks. What?
Look.
My opinion, though.
Look, there is no objective claim. Like, it's always subjective on what kind of movie you like, and it's often subjective on the quality of movies.
Mm-hmm.
But often there is some objectivity to whether a movie is good or not.
Yeah.
Like some, not entirely, because a lot of it is subjective because it's, art and stuff. But there are some instances where you can be like, that is definitely no arguments a good movie, and that is definitely no arguments a bad movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's different.
So, was that the end of your story with the kid?
Yeah, it was just like
Wicker Man for some reason?
Yeah, he just like pulls up like all these little movies. He's like, look, I can watch these, and then he just watches it on the bus all the time. I'm like, man, all I have is this little Walkman thing that I can change to the different 15 songs I have. I'm like, God, this is shit. But I still was happy because the songs I listened to the most were the Hamster Dance song. Do you remember that one?
I remember that.
You
don't have to sing it.
And then Numa Numa.
I actually like that song.
Yeah, well, I listen to it far too frequently. And, what was it? Just all of the old Naruto songs.
Your taste in music has really not changed a lot.
It hasn't, really. I mean, but now I listen to, like, what is it? Steam Powered Giraffe. They sound cool. I like them. They're, like, old-timey sounding music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they, like, sound like a barbershop quartet, but good.
I was gonna say, don't be insulting my quartets.
You are specific.
I got gigs of this shit on my phone.
The Brooks of quartets.
Shit. I dropped my phone.
You're really low on energy because you feel sick.
I am low on energy.
This is going to probably be a shorter episode then. So should we just jump to the theme?
Do you have any other fun stories or anecdotes?
I can probably bring them up while we're talking.
Look. We gotta fill some space. Yeah. And we're doing something different for this podcast, so I literally don't know how long the main topic is. So I'm going to tell a story.
Go tell that story.
It's a story that you dragged me into, and it's now one of my favorite things.
Okay.
It was the story with the books.
The books.
And your brother.
Oh, that was the greatest. Okay, dude. Go ahead.
So, I have read a lot of books, or am aware of different books and such.
Actually, let me tell you what started it on my end. Because
I was struggling with that.
Yeah, so what happened was I read the book Ready Player One. Amazing book. Really great book. They're making a movie out of it.
Spielberg's directing it.
Yeah,
so
I'm super excited.
It's going to be really good.
But yeah, my friend got me into that book because I really trust their opinion with everything. I was like, fine, I'll read it. And I read that book and I was like, I want to read more books. Why haven't I read before? I don't need Wi-Fi to read. I can read even when the power's out. This is great! And
you discovered something that people have been aware of for hundreds of years.
Yes, but I wasn't aware of it. And then my eyes opened. I was like, yes! And then college started, and I haven't read since, even though I've gotten a lot of college books that I should be reading. And anyway, so I got
an English paper I should be doing, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah! Anyway, so after that, I was like, hey, Brooks knows books. Brooks probably knows quite a lot of books. Hey, Brooks, what books would you like?
So, yeah, you just asked me this out of the blue, and, I was just like, okay. So I said, well, there's this book, there's this one, and this one. They're all pretty good. Do you have, one or two of those that you want to read?
And I was just like, yes? And so, what happened?
Yeah, you just sort of said you wanted to read all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how fast I could read, because I read through Ready Player One in 2 days. But that was because I was like, what am I going to read? But, pretty much, the books came in the mail.
Yeah, you asked me to order the books for you, because they were books that I've been meaning to buy.
And you had Amazon Prime. So.
I had Amazon Prime, so it was pretty cheap.
Right. And so, so they came in, and I was going to go get them from you. But for some reason or another, I was at work. And because I was like, I guess I could go pick them up some other day, maybe when we do 100 Years podcast for the first time or something like that.
Yep.
But I thought, no, this would be a great time for me to pull a prank on my younger brother. So
Zach has a younger brother named Spencer,
which is the greatest.
Is an amazing man, and I love him. It's never a dull moment with him around, and I loved doing this to him because it made him feel so bad. Okay, so I sent him a text. I mean, after I've already cleared all this stuff with Brooks, I was like, hey, Brooks, you want to help me with a joke? You owe me that favor from a long time when I bought you condoms. Different story, different story. So Brooks was like, okay, what do you need me to do? I was like, all right, all those books are in a box, right? Yeah. All right, I need you to tape that box up as sketcy as possible. And I need you to meet my brother outside of the mall when it's really dark outside. We're talking 10:30? Yeah. 10 p.m. And and I told my brother, I sent him a text, I was like, hey, could you go get a package for me from Brooks? Look, normally I would get it myself, but I forgot I had work today. I just need you to get it. Do not open the box. Can you do that for me? He's like, sure. What's in the box, though? I was like, look, I just need you to get the box for me. And then when you get home, just put it in my room, make sure Mom and Dad don't see it. All right? I'll take care of it after that. And he's like, okay, what's in the box? Yeah, he started really freaking out. He bought it immediately.
Yeah, God, it was the greatest. It was like, look, Spencer, it's just It's just something I need right now. Okay, it's just a package. Brooks will tell. Brooks will tell you, all right. And then I can't remember.
Oh yeah, now switching back to my side because I was the one who made the drop off and everything.
Right, I wasn't there for this.
So I pull up to the mall where it was going down.
Right.
And we were just sort of sitting outside the movie theater part of it.
Right.
And everything. He was standing there. I decided to wait a few minutes just to make him wait. And everything.
Yeah. Drive home the sketchy factor.
Yeah, because your sister drove him there and drove him back and everything.
Yep.
And
she was in on it too. She was.
Yeah,
in on
she was also in it. Everyone was in on it except for Spencer.
Oh, it was the greatest.
My parents were in on it.
My parents.
Your parents were in on it. Everyone was in on it except for Spencer.
And that's what made it the greatest.
So I decided, in my head, I think I might have run it by you first, but in my head I came up with a routine to do.
Yeah, you never ran it by me, but you told me about it.
Oh, okay. So I leave the package in the car.
Right.
Remember, this is a package filled with books. The nerdest thing possible.
So, it bulged a little bit?
Yeah, it bulged. It was all wrapped up in duct tape. I, crossed out any markings on it, so it's just like a generic
It looked like
box.
there was a bomb inside.
That's bomb or drugs or something.
Something illegal.
Yes. So I left it in my car. I went up to Spencer. I was just trying to be really casual about it. I was like, hey, Spencer, how's it going? What's happening, man? And he's just like, okay, what the fuck is happening? What's going on? And he's like, oh, nothing. It's just, it's just a normal exchange and everything. And I was like, Spencer, do you trust me? He's like, do you trust me? He's like, I guess so, yeah. Because, Spencer and I were friends and everything. So I'm like, okay, then just come with me, come to my car, and, I can give you the box. And we have exchange, get out of the way. He's like, why don't you bring the box here so I can stay here and not go to your car? Because what I hadn't realized before and at the time was that he was legitimately frightened for his own safety.
It's made it great.
Yeah, so I'm just like, nah, come on, just walk with me. It'll be like a simple exchange and everything. So I'm walking with him and talking casually and everything. He's like, yeah, this shouldn't take very long. It's just like I bring out the package, you give me the password, and then I give you the package, and you had never brought up the password. So it's like, wait, what password? And then I stopped being casual. Because Zach and I both have acting experience, so I employed that. I just turned to him dead serious. I'm just like, you don't have the password? Zach was supposed to give you a password. I mean, I can't give you the box. I can't give you the package if you don't have a password.
I think in that moment, Spencer also texted me, "What's the password?"
Yeah,
I was like,
he pulled out his phone. He's like, "What's the password?" And then while that was happening, I'm just like, I'm just fucking with you. There's no password. Come on, let's go get the package. So I brought him to my car, and I took the package out. And I handed it to him, and he's just like, "What's in this?" And he's like, "Oh no, nothing. You just gotta bring it home, and it's just a casual thing, no big deal."
Don't let your parents see it.
And then I got sketchy again. I'm like, "Don't let your parents see it. They don't need to be brought into." Just don't let him see it. And that's when he freaked out. He's like, what's in the fucking box? And everything, what's in this box? He put it on the ground and stepped away from it and everything. I'm like, Spencer, there's nothing in the box. You don't have to worry about it. It's just, I stopped. I turned and looked over to off in the distance. I'm just like, okay, it was nothing. It's just don't worry, Spencer. For a second I thought, no, it was nothing. It was nothing. Continue. And then he was freaking out and everything. What's in the box? I'm just like, he called you up.
Yeah, he called me at work. I remember it because my boss was like, your brother's calling you? I was like, oh, yeah. Hold on. And then I answered, like, yeah, hey, Spence, what's up? Did you get the package? And he's like, what the fuck is in this box?
See, at that point in time, my routine hadn't incorporated this. The thought that went through my head is that the whole point was to get him with the box into the car with your sister, so he could open it there.
Don't spoil what the surprise is yet.
I won't spoil what the surprise was. But I realized at that point there was a very good chance that he won't open the box.
Right.
So what I did, I took his phone. I was like, "Can I talk to Zach? Can I talk to him?" And he was like, "I just need to talk to him." He was saying, "No, give me the phone." I was like, "No." He's a small boy. He's a small boy, so I was able to push him away. I took the phone. I was like, "Hey Zach, you're at work, right?" And you were like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'm here with Spencer in the package and everything. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. What time do you get back from work?" And he said
10:30, 11.
Yeah. Sometime in the future. And I'm like, okay. I hung up the phone, and he's just like, because Spencer was the one who called you for answer. He's like, dude, what the fuck? And I'm just like, okay, like, this was not, like, expected and everything, but I was just like, Spencer, you have duct tape at home, right? And he's like, yeah? Okay. What I need you to do, if it makes you feel better, you can open the box here and now. It's just, you cannot, and I mean, you cannot tell Zach that I let you do this. You cannot mention to him. And when you get home, immediately wrap it back up in duct tape. Do you understand me, Spencer? He's like, yeah. I'm just like, okay, so you can open the box here. And so he put the box on the ground, pulled out a fucking knife that he brought.
He put on a fucking butterfly.
And he started, like, cutting. He's like, what's in this? I'm just like, no, just open it up. And he's like, sort of keeping his distance like it was a bomb or something. He's opening it up. He's cutting the duct tape and opening the box. And what he hadn't noticed is that while he was doing that, I had casually walked to the other side of my car, opened the door, sat inside, closed the door, locked it, rolled down the window, like, turned on the car, put it in drive with my foot on the brake, and rolled down the window facing him and everything while he was doing it. Like, I don't know if he was aware of this.
Right.
Because he didn't really, like, make any note of it. He'd never brought it up. He's like, hey, what are you getting your car for? He was just doing the box thing. I was just, like,
He was
really
just so
like
focused.
one fluid motion. I got in the car, put it in drive, and was ready with it with the window rolled down. And then he opened it up, and there were the books. He took out the note that I had written for him, opened it up, and read it. He didn't read it out loud, but I saw in his face. I could see his eyes go, like from side to side, like reading it. And the note it was an idea I came up with. The note had said, "The joke's on you, Spencer. Love, Mr. McNugget, the library fairy." And he looked down at the books. He looked up at me in my car. He's like, "You piece of shit." And I said, and I just started laughing maniacally, like, ha ha ha, and like drove off like as fast as I could, like out of there. I just like drove.
I remember getting home. I remember he called me after the whole exchange went down because he was just in the car, and I was just like, "Hey, Spence, what's up?" He's like, "You are a real fucking piece of shit. I want you to know that." And I was like, "Hey, Spence, can you just say damn fucking for me?" And he's like, "Oh, damn fucking."
That's his catchphrase.
Yeah, we have forced him to have a catchphrase. He never says it, but every time something bad happens to him, we make him say it. So it'll be his catchphrase eventually.
Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum. Spence!
Damn
We came up with an idea. That idea for that sitcom. We came up with, like, when he and I were in high school.
Right.
So, something I heard about later, like, I told you what I did and everything, and the routine I did.
Yeah.
And then what I found funny was, apparently when he got home, his parents yelled at him
it was
having a butterfly knife.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to have a knife. That knife. It's illegal.
Yeah, and, like, if the cops had picked him up and everything, he would have been the one to get in trouble with his sister driving him and everything.
Yep. So
and everything that's just salty. Like, why did you bring a butterfly knife? He's like, to defend myself.
It's like, I didn't know what was going to happen. I wanted to defend myself. I was like, oh shit, Brooks could have gotten stabbed maybe.
Oh my god, that just dawned on me right now. Spencer could have fucking stabbed me.
Yeah, it was like...
Oh my god, we did that months ago, and I had just now realized that I could have been stabbed
really?
Right then.
It never dawned on you before?
No! I just thought it was funny. He's like, he brought a knife to defend himself. I'm just like, he could have stabbed me.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely realizing this for right now. I could have been wounded. If I had, like, tried to, like, hug him weird or something to make it awkward, he could have killed me.
Yeah, you know? So it's good that you played it the way you did.
Yeah.
Otherwise, sorry, parallel universe Brooks.
Yeah.
Your missing eye. Or something.
Why the eye? Why go straight for the eye?
You misunderstand my family. My father has raised us all in preparation for the zombie apocalypse. He's crazy. He's like, yeah, alright, you gotta understand. When society goes down, you're gonna have to eat a person one day or another. Like, Dad, cannibalism isn't something we should resort to. He's like, look, I'm not saying start out being a cannibal, but I'm saying if we haven't gone shopping for a while, and that's when the zombie apocalypse happens, like when we're out of milk and we've only got cereal and stuff, we need meat. we're not eating the dog because I care about the dog. But the neighbors, I don't like them. I'm like, Dad, you want us to kill and eat the neighbors? Like, I didn't say kill them, but we are going to eat our neighbors before we eat the dog. I'm like, Dad, I'm not okay with that.
Every story I hear about your dad, it's just gold.
He looks like Guy Fieri, and he's just insane, and it's the greatest. There was one day I was having the greatest sleep I can ever remember, and I just remember waking up to, Zach, wake up. And I'm like, and I just like do one of those stretch things, look at my door, and my dad's there with a Tommy 20 Nerf gun, and he's like, pancakes are ready. I'm like, no.
Oh my god!
Oh god, he is a man-child, and it's the best. He is a card, a character indeed.
Okay, so I think that's the amount of time that the news would normally take up.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So, for today's podcast, we're gonna do something a little different.
Right.
Zach and I are both lovers of fiction, and we have dabbled in writing before.
Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, wrote a book.
Yeah, you wrote a book. I wrote stuff that was published in a book.
Did you?
Yeah, it was back in high school. There was a program that went from school to school. It'd be like, hey, if you people apply, you can spend a day in the library making a book with all your short stories and poems and shit.
Huh.
And it's like one of those books that is like actually published on Amazon, just nobody ever buys or reads it.
Like my book.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Aww. Anyway.
So we thought we'd do something a little different because we're kind of running out of ideas.
Right.
And we swore that the idea we would always put off indefinitely
Bionicle.
is the Bionicle movies.
I don't want to do Bionicle.
I kind of do want to do Bionicle, but at the same time I don't. So
Okay.
that'll be the idea that if we're really desperate, we'll watch all the Bionicle movies on Netflix.
Right.
And talk about them.
Oh my god. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen eventually.
Oh, good.
We can just avoid that from happening for the next 100 years. We're good.
Okay, so.
Hang on. So, we thought we should do a recurring segment, not back to back, but, every once in a while. We have the Made Game, which is our other recurring segment, which we'll get back to eventually. But for today, we thought we'd do some,
Oh, sorry about that.
knocking the table.
Yep.
We do some writing advice. We're doing a writing workshop. Because we're both writers.
Can it be called the World Workshop?
Well, like, if we do different things, if we do more workshops, we'll call it World Workshop.
Yeah, because saying writing workshop makes it sound like, a college class.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
We don't want to make you guys think you're learning something.
The World Workshop, and for, different topics, we'll just put blank workshop.
Yeah.
So, today, we are lovers of sci-fi and fantasy, so we thought, what is the big thing that makes sci-fi and fantasy stand out from other things in fiction? World building.
World building. Continue. Okay.
So we thought we'd talk about what makes good world building, what makes bad world building, and some of our favorite examples of world building. And if we have time at the end, after we talk about the stuff, we may even dabble in a bit of world building. So I did some research. I have a lot of pages open on my phone.
Yeah.
About.
Oh, that's porn. Well, that's a different
about different aspects of world building and what makes good world building and what makes bad world building.
Can we stop saying that? It's just like saying a word so many times that it loses its meaning.
Okay.
Like nano.
So.
Nano.
Nano.
Nano. I don't even know.
I miss Robin Williams.
Yeah, he was a nice man.
Yeah. Anyway.
Go ahead.
How about we start off with you?
Well, I mean,
because you're the more published author than I am.
Oh, well.
So why don't you?
All right. Well, my list of not top worlds, but worlds that came to mind when you said, "Hey, what are some good examples of worlds?" First one that came to my mind was the world that is Persona 4. You don't know anything about that, do you? So,
I know some things from the internet, comics and parodies and dubs.
okay. So Persona 4 takes place, it's like real life. And you're like, oh, cool. So it's like these kids are, the characters are relatable. So you're like, oh, look, I could be a normal person going to a school and shit, whatever. And there's murders. Murders happen in real world, whatever. And then the thing that makes it not the real world is that they go into a TV. They just like dive straight into a TV, and now they're in. It looks exactly like their world, except kind of imagine post-apocalypse. Everything's foggy,
Right.
everything's gross, and they're like, no.
Yeah, it's like much lower render distance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A lot of fog.
Yeah, but while they're there, they have these things called personas, and they're like their inner selves. Like while they're there, they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm like really popular and everything at school, but inside I feel like a piece of shit and nobody likes me." They would find themselves like that, like their inner self, which they call the shadow, which is like, "Yeah, I hate myself. Ah, man, I'm just gonna go through life. This is the peak of my life, and I hate everything else. Nobody's gonna be here for me." Like just saying a bunch of negative, truthful things that are like the thoughts everybody has in the back of their head, but they don't want to say. And like, no, stop! And then they have to fight that person that is themselves, and then they have to accept it. They have to be like, what you're saying is right, but I want to be better. And they're like, well, all right, now I'll fight for you. And then they like turn into like this weird representation of themselves, and then they use that to be with them. Like, and then they fight the evil other shadows while they're in that world. And the reason why I like that world is because, it's and the reason why I like that world is because it's just everything that you ever need. Like, you got your friends, you got, like, the real stuff, the real life, that you're like, oh, hey, this would be nice, everybody's kind of cool to each other.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what is good about the world building in Persona 4. What would you say they do to make the world feel, fully realized?
Fully realized. I don't know, it's just, everything's kind of close to each other. Like, you understand, like, oh, hey, if I go down this road that's just full of a bunch of shops and everything, I'm like, hey, this is a pretty nice place. And then you can keep going. You can go to the secluded parts. Like, not everything is the same. Like, you've got your populated area,
right.
You've got your, like, reservoir down there.
So varied locations.
Yeah, everything's varied. Everything, you can have your cake and eat it too, baby. Look at me. I am the captain now. Sorry.
So that is definitely a good thing to use.
Everything's varied. Not everybody is the same.
Yes. That was one of the points of, like, the opposite of that was bad world building. I have a list of different, like, things that are bad for when you're building a world, and one of them is creating monolithic peoples, cultures, and religions, political parties. Basically, groups of people where everyone looks the same. All the environments, all the environments as one part are the same, and everything. Everyone feels the same about everything. Like, everyone in this group of people had the same opinions and all that.
You mean like how dwarves or whatever are all like, yeah, we're the dwarves?
Well, that's less like that, more like a general outlook.
Okay.
They're different people with different personalities and opinions within this dwarven thing.
Okay, so you're talking about like a hive mind then?
Well, no, it's like, imagine you go to a country in a fantasy world.
Okay.
You go to a city.
Yep.
Meet everyone in it.
Hi guys, how's it going?
And
yeah,
everyone has the same opinion on this one issue.
Hey.
Like, literally hundreds of thousands of people, and they all think the same thing. Not a hive mind, because in the story they're supposed to be all different people.
Right.
But they feel like the same person with the same opinions and everything. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen that in a world, I think. Is there...
Well, that's because you don't see it in good worlds.
That's true.
You see that in bad worlds. Yeah, like right here, it's like creating monolithic stuff where they all think and feel the same way.
That's stupid. There's like something about the real world, not the real world, creating a world is that, like, let's say, if we made our world, like in the very center of it, we have, like, the massive hub world, like Republican City from Avatar, the Legend of Korra, or whatever it is.
Avatar, the Legend of...
Avatar, the Last Korra Bender. But like, yeah, then you'll have all the people who are just like, "Hey, yeah, we're living in a place," and then other people are gonna be like, "I fucking hate this place," and other people are like, "This is the greatest place."
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, where it's like it's different people, you know.
Yeah, it's like
brought together.
Well, right, and you got like some people. I love this place. Like, yeah, hey, I like this place too, but that guy doesn't like this place. Like, yeah.
So, dear listener, imagine yourself in the scenario. You want to write a fantasy world.
I'll be the listener for this.
You'll
time.
be the listener.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why don't I just talk to the listener? So we can.
Well, I can respond. I can
respond
for the listeners.
Fine. God, I want a divorce.
Look, baby, we can get you as many divorces as you want.
Yes, we can get you all the divorces you want, baby.
Yeah, look. Now, just shut up and make daddy talk.
What? Okay. All right. I don't know.
Let's just get you that divorce later.
Okay. So, imagine you're sitting down. You want to create a fantasy world fantasy or sci-fi world for whatever reason.
I want to create a fantasy world for some reason.
Good point. Our first point: make the different aspects of it vary. Different geographic locations.
Yeah.
Different peoples with different opinions and different personalities. Don't make it bland. Like, the elves are all like this, and the dwarves are all like this, and the people are all like this.
But you can have stereotypes.
You can have sort of...
Like, because that's how it is. Like, all elves are, going with a typical elven blah, blah, blah.
That's less a stereotype and more like the culture of the peoples.
Oh.
When you establish it, like, the dwarves have a sort of mining warrior culture.
Yeah,
but they're not all within...
But stereotypically, they're all pretty stubborn and, like, thick-headed. And stuff like that.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't, I get what you're saying and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't want to use the word stereotype because that's not good for you to use stereotypes in your writing because then that's the same thing as doing the monolithic thing, where it plays into it and everything. So when people say, like, oh, stereotypes, okay, I'll just make stereotypes for all these races and have everyone fall within that.
Right, that kind of falls in the monolith.
So don't think in terms of stereotypes, think in terms of cultures.
Right. Now, something that I think, just kind of getting off of that a little bit, I didn't really have it written down, but I think a bit of vagueness would actually be great for a world that you create. Because you don't want to have everything it's like, yes, it came from this, and this is why this town exists, and everything's here. There's, like, no mystery to it. What you want is, like, let's say there's the typical, like, you got the mountain range, the ocean, and everything like that. And then there's just, like, a giant crater somewhere. And, like, maybe it's an ocean, it's a big old lake by now. But, like, nobody's ever questioned it or something like that. But then later you can be like, hey, at one time the meteor crashed here. And the people are like, whoa, that throws in a wrench into all the everything that happened before.
One of the worlds I put down as very good worlds established and everything is one that was it's kind of fallen off that now, but it was originally very good at keeping things vague and keeping mystery and people fill it in, everything. And that was Star Wars. Star Wars, the original trilogy, hinted at a lot of things in both the past with a lot of myth and ways that the Force worked and everything. Prequels being bad, over-explained a lot of things, but back then, in the original trilogy, they kept things open, so people who watched it were just like, when Obi-Wan would be like, yes, I fought with your father in the Clone Wars, and that'd be it, that's all he'd say about it. People would be like, what are the Clone Wars? What was that about? And they'd sort of get their minds going and everything, and hints at different things that the characters would not really go into detail about and everything, or wouldn't know about, so the audience wouldn't know about it either, so it gives the audience a chance to imagine the sort of history of this world. I thought the original trilogy was very good at that, at hinting at larger things.
Right. I don't know anything about it, so I'm just agreeing with you.
Agreeing. Do you have another world that has a good aspect of things?
A good aspect of things? I've got worlds that have, like, I guess this is a thing, a gimmick, I guess. Not like, don't base the whole world around this gimmick, but like if it has something. Like, there was this one called No Game, No Life.
Alright.
And in this world, I believe the world was called Disboard. Get it like a chessboard. Disboard right here. Disboard.
I get it. I get it.
But
we're using Disboard.
Yeah, we're using Disboard. But there was it's a whole world, and like each country or continent, whatever you have it, is a chess piece, like a pawn, a bishop, night, something like that. And the way conflicts are settled in this world, because like one of the almighty gods were like, "Yo, y'all are fighting too much. Stop that. If you want to settle things, settle it like a game. I don't care what kind of game. No fighting, no death. Die of natural causes."
That's a very hands-on type of god there.
Yeah, he was very hands-on and like, oh, you like, and the protagonists, of course, talked to that god and like, yeah, that guy was stupid. Like, you talked to the god? Like, yeah, I beat him in a game of chess. And now I mean, you beat the guy in a game of chess. He's like, yeah, he was a spoiled brat, so he brought me here.
For a god who established the rules of everyone fights with board games, he was surprisingly bad at board games.
He had to roll the dice to find out what he'd shoot.
He's like, shit. He's like, fuck. I got a 1. Shit.
Yeah, but everything in that world was decided by, like, not chess game, but, like, there was a chess game that happened, and that was going to decide the heir to the throne. Because, like, hey, a person who is, like, great at chess, they have to be smart, they have to be thinking ahead, they have to do, like, research on their opponents and stuff like that. But, like, hey, how did they play the games before? And stuff like that. But a thing that No Game No Life also had was just, like, a bunch of races.
Sorry.
What?
Real pause. Not, like, actual pause, like, stop the show, but pause isn't what you're talking.
I get it.
Okay, so they're just like, okay, we need a king who can, plan ahead, do all these things. And like, the guy's like super smart. He's like, put in this here. He's like, okay, and he wins the game. Everyone's like, yeah. And first he gets crowned. First day of rule, advisor comes up. He's like, okay, so we need your help. We need to budget on building this, like, some roads in the city. He's like, fuck.
I'm only good at chess.
I am good at chess. If you want me to play chess with someone, I can do it. I don't know how to budget.
Pause. Unpause.
Let him rot!
Okay, we're unpausing to that.
Yeah.
Let him rot, indeed. Okay. So, but yeah, No Game No Life. Great.
So, how do you think, trying to tie this back into the advice to the listeners,
right?
How do you think they did some good world building
in No Game No Life?
Yes.
The fact that each, like, continent was just so vastly different than the other one. Again, going back to variety. But then you also had the people who. No, I'm just thinking of the art now. It's just like, it was just so beautiful. It was like so different from like things you would see in real life. There were like waterfalls that were like going up. I think something, to me, it's not necessarily needed for a good world. You can have like a normal world that's this world, just like, with superheroes or whatever. But for me, if you have something that just defies all, like, oh wow, that's defies the laws of physics, but it does it in such a nice, beautiful, elegant way, it's awesome. And rules. Your world needs rules.
Your world, this is a big point. If you're ever creating a world, it needs rules. Very well-defined rules to the reader, so you can't just pull stuff out of your ass.
Right, because you can't have a world that's like, yep, science is absolute, science is the only thing, and then all of a sudden, there's a guy who's like, by the way, I can use magic! I mean,
he's like, is it advanced science? No, it's magic!
Watch as I turn this rabbit into a screaming bull! Why?
What is it with you and bulls?
What do you mean?
You brought it up with the Bill Cipher in the last episode.
Look, I have a lot of pent-up bull aggression.
Pent-up bull aggression?
Yeah, look, I don't tell you how to live your life with your freaking orange shirt and glasses, your bull head mounted on the wall. No, I'm seeing things now. Right, I need a doctor.
Bull head? That is clearly a moose.
I have a deep fear of mooses. Moose?
Yes.
Moosies?
Moosin.
Moosin?
Moosin.
Moosin, hoosin, dookin. But
okay. So yes, clearly defined rules are very important in your world.
Like, and that doesn't go with just like, hey, don't murder people or something like that. That goes with like, the world's set in magic. So what gives a person too much power? What
are the different levels of power, and what can an
average Joe do?
Different people of different power levels, what can and can they not do?
What can and what cannot they do? Wait. But like, if a person's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw a giant fireball this way, can everybody do that, or is that like an amazing thing? You gotta establish that early on.
Like, how much does that take out of him in order to...
Or can you just like... And you're like, oh, well, then, like, you get your people invested, like, oh, is there gonna be a guy who can do, like, 20 fireballs at once? That's amazing.
A very good series with that is Avatar: The Last Airbender, which has an amazing world, one of the best worlds I've seen in fiction.
It's got the
in recent
diversity,
years.
it's got the whole factions.
It's got very diverse cultures, very complex people within those cultures, but in terms
complex
of
inner workings of people.
Right now, when we're talking about rules, it's very well established rules.
Yeah.
Where it very clearly establishes there are certain people who are born with the ability to bend.
Mm-hmm.
They're born with one of 4 different ways to bend.
Right.
And there's only one person who can bend all of them.
Right.
And usually it takes a physical toll on you in order to bend, and usually you need except for like fire and air, you need earth and water there in order to use it.
Right. You can't make something out of nothing instantly.
Right.
Like Full Metal Alchemist. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump. But like Full Metal Alchemist, it had like that certain set of rules. Like, hey, alchemy needs to be done this way.
Yeah.
Unless this happens. And that's the rule.
Right. So the world became believable because, there was a believable, like, hierarchy to it, the set of rules and everything. And whenever they introduced some crazy and new, they did it in a smart way, where it's just like, okay, this would happen because of this.
These guys can bend sand!
Well, yeah, it would be like, if you want sand benders, you're just like, you don't just say, these guys can bend sand. You can say, oh, they can sort of bend
They bend the earth.
Or the
They
earth,
can't do air.
Because there's only one airbender.
The last one. That's the reason the title's the Airbenders.
Okay, but there's usually a progression of it, because when they introduce blood bending, and it's like, okay, we can't just introduce someone who's like, oh, I can blood bend. So they go like, how would this progress? Okay, if there was a water bender...
Because early on they established the full moon makes a bender more powerful.
Yes, it makes water benders more powerful. There's a lot of water in the human body. So in theory, if a water bender was powerful enough, they could invent the technique of blood bending.
Right.
So that way blood bending doesn't just come out of thin air. It's like actual progression. Same with metal bending, where it's just like, if an earthbender was strong enough, they could bend the earth within the metal.
Yeah.
They don't just introduce like things out of the blue.
Right, and just like, I think something they introduced out of the blue though was kind of lightning bending.
Is it though?
Turning fire into lightning seems a bit, because I liked what they did with it. I had no complaints with it, but if we're talking about like something that has rules, that was kind of Deus Ex Machina.
Well, I don't think so, because
although Iroh did redirect lightning in the beginning, so.
What I think is that they did it where it was like the technique didn't start with you being able to generate lightning. It started with you redirecting lightning that is struck.
Right.
So, in theory, someone could develop that technique of taking lightning and redirecting it and using it as a weapon, and then that progressed in order to people developing in order to use lightning itself.
Couldn't anybody redirect lightning then, or does it have to be a firebender?
It wouldn't make sense for it to be firebenders, because it's
because Iroh
energy.
But Iroh said he learned it from the waterbenders. He learned the technique, like the way the movement was. Because it's not a firebending motion. Like, whenever they do it, they have to kind of move their arms around.
I think he said he utilized, like, techniques from, like, all the nations in order to develop the technique of redirecting lightning and everything. And I think it was a firebender thing to develop generation of lightning.
Right. Alright, so we'll talk about that some other time.
But basically, yeah, good rules have to be established in your world in order for it to make sense.
Right. Another great example of what a bad story is our improv story that we made.
Yes, our improv story. For those who don't know,
everybody.
A few years ago, well, yeah, everybody doesn't know, but a few years ago, 2 of us and our mutual friend, what happened was me and my friend Willem got into an argument over something.
I don't remember how the improv story started, so go ahead.
Oh, I remember. We got into an argument via text over it, and then when we settled it, we were just like, calm down and everything. He's like, okay. I was like, okay, let's make this up to you. And I've been thinking about, like, doing an improv story, like, maybe, like, we just fire back 1 and 4th at each other, like, just come up with this story, because I've been learning stuff about improv recently. So I'm just like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, we did this over text, and we just came up with a sort of story and everything. So he rolled with it, and then eventually we brought you in on it.
Yep.
And then it just took off from there, and we had a whole improv story that we kept going for a while. And it was very bad world building. The world building in that story was awful, because we just introduced shit out of the blue. and everything. And what are you looking at?
I found the book again, the improv story.
Oh, okay.
And it was just online, so I just wanted to find it real quick. And I was like, it's funny.
So something that I had always thought about
I'll read a little bit of it
the
later.
world of the
I kind of want to read a little bit.
Aww, it was younger us. So.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I want to read it, because it makes me go like, what? We wrote this.
We thought this was funny at the time.
I still think it's funny. It makes me laugh.
Parts of it are funny.
Yeah.
The thing is, I also find it funny, but I usually think only people who participated in it would find it funny.
Maybe there are parts that are like, oh hey, that was a reference to somebody we know. Mm-hmm. I'll skip those parts then. I'll just read like a couple bits. But go ahead.
Okay. So the thing about our world that we created for the improv story, which was very bad, is we sort of. There was too much, too many of everything. There was magic, there was technology, there was steampunk.
We didn't have any rules.
There were no rules established as to what could exist in this world and what couldn't.
Everything existed in that world. There were giant tiger sharks that chased us on land.
To the point where you had no idea, like, how did they get tiger sharks on land, and why would they use this for soldiers? Why is this happening?
Now there's a bad guy?
Why are there velociraptors?
This is just happening. We were in a computer simulation the whole time?
That doesn't make any sense.
He didn't die? What? And Willem kept derailing the story every time.
Yeah.
Like, we'll go, it's like, and we rode off into the sunset, never to be seen again. And then you had to pick up after.
Yeah, I'm just like, we're not done the improv story yet. What are you talking about?
And then like, rode off in the sunset, never to be seen again. Until next morning when they came up.
I was just like, I would often make it Willem hallucinated it.
Yeah, he just had a bunch of shrooms. I perpetually had a bunch of shrooms on me at all times, so Willem could keep hallucinating.
But yeah, that world was all over the place, no consistency. When developing your world, it's important to have a sense of consistency between it.
No plot holes or what I just said earlier.
You can introduce new things, new weird things, but it has to be handled correctly.
Yeah, and for the love of God, never do Deus Ex Machina.
No.
God of the machine.
Yeah.
You're pretty much like, oh hey, these guys can't cross this bridge, this gap. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's a bridge out of nowhere. Well, that's convenient. That bridge just happened to be there.
So, yeah, I'm just reading off this list of, like, it's some called 7 Deadly Sins of World Building off of io9.com.
Okay. Not iOS 9. News! That came out. iOS 9 for the iPhone. The only difference is it really changed the font and gave you a low battery life option.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I just realized there was news.
Why didn't you say that earlier?
Because I forgot, and like the font is just different enough that it annoys me so very much.
So, different things to avoid when doing your world is, I'll just rattle them off. Not thinking about basic infrastructure. Like, how do people live their lives from day to day? How do they eat? What do they eat? Who takes away the garbage? Who deals with their bodily wastes? How do they get around? You have to, if you're constructing like a city and a world, you have to think about these things like, how does the day-to-day work in this in order for it to be believable? Are there garbage men? Are there, is there sewage, public sewers and everything?
Right.
Like what kind of jobs do these people have? Mm-hmm. You have to think about these kind of things. Don't just think about the interesting story that your characters are going through. You have to think about the little people as well who aren't involved.
Those little people, man. All those little people.
Another thing, not explaining, like, I'll let you talk a bit more after this next one, and then I'll talk more. Not thinking about why events are happening now. So, imagine the story starts with your heroes living a normal life, and then the villains come in, and they start, wrecking the place. You have to think about what transpired to make it so that these villains are here now, and why they weren't here sooner, like 10 years ago or 10 years from now.
Guys, it's Taco Tuesday. It's now or never.
It's sort of thinking what events led them to doing this. Was there something keeping them from being here at this time? Like, why are they attacking now? Why is now the right time for them to enact their plan?
Even if it's just something small, like, oh, hey, it's this year, and they're a cult, and they believe that this is the holy year.
Yeah.
As long as they have some reason.
They have to have some explanation. Going sort of back to Star Wars is
every time.
The thing that really set off the chain of events was the fact that they finished building the Death Star and everything. They finished building the Death Star, so the rebels got the plans for it, and then the Empire went after their plans, so that means the plans eventually landed in the hands of Luke Skywalker, and then that set off the events of the thing. So the reason it happened was that they had just finished building this thing, and now it poses a huge threat to the galaxy.
Okay.
So, and that's just the explanation, is that this thing got finished, and that's what sets off the chain of events in the story. So, as long as you have, it can be simple, it can be really simple, you just need that explanation.
Didn't they make a second Death Star, too?
Yes, they did.
Was it easier to blow up?
Yes and no.
Why?
Because it was more powerful, but more vulnerable.
Why was it more vulnerable?
Because it was only sort of, like, all of the systems in it were finished, and it was more powerful and advanced, but the actual infrastructure of it wasn't finished.
Huh.
So instead of getting the pinpoint shot, they had to fly a ship into the core and blow it up.
Oh. So... what? Huh. Alright, you would think they would go with, like, the warp-size hole again, whatever it was.
Well, they tried. They were in the process of building it. What they did finish it is what made it really hard, where they had a laser that could destroy planets, but in the past it could only target planets, but the new Death Star is just like, yep, we can take this planet-destroying laser, and we can target and lock onto ships. So, yeah, and just start blowing up rebel ships.
Oh, nice.
So that's what made it more dangerous.
Dangerous, super bad, better watch out, gonna take the bad, she's a gold.
Okay, so what's another world that you think does a good job of world building?
Let's see, what do I have still? Let me get rid of the improv story, that's just one I wanted to talk about. One I've just been reading a lot recently because I was like, I wonder what this is about. It's called One Punch Man.
One Punch Man.
Yeah, let me just tell you the story about this a little bit. It's about, we got our generic protagonist, who, he's not the strongest guy ever, he's just like a typical college student kind of kid, who, like, it's a world where, like, there's a bunch of mutants and stuff like that, and they're always coming up to terrorize things like, you got Godzilla, or, like, the King of the Ocean, or, like, aliens, and, like, they have a rule that's like, yeah, you know what, whatever cliches there are, that's what the villain of the week is going to be. Like, they fully acknowledge that, yeah, this is cliche, but we're going with it. And so the protagonist is like, yeah, I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to train as hard as I can for 3 years and be the greatest hero ever. Problem is, he trained too well. Now he can defeat literally everything in one punch.
Really?
Literally. Like, the first being, imagine Piccolo, except the Super Piccolo from the Dragon Ball Z thing.
Yeah, the multiverse.
The multiverse. And, like, they give him a huge backstory, like, oh, this amazing, like, oh, wow, this guy is, the Earth's defense system, humans are a virus, and he's here to extinct, he's like the white blood cells, he just, like, levels a whole city in one blast. You're like, oh my god, this guy is so strong. Like, he has just decimated this whole, like, naval fleet and everything like that, leveled several Chrysler buildings, whatever you want to call it. And just, like, a whole town. New York City, gone.
All of the Chrysler buildings are gone.
Yeah, like, New York City was just wasted in one shot. And you're like, oh my god, this is the first villain? What's going on? And then you got One Punch Man. Bald-headed guy, plain-looking face, like, as generically boring as you can possibly look. He's like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, and, like, he goes in, like, his whole his whole monologue thing, powers up like Frieza, like, max form, and you're like, oh my god, he looks so scary, he looks so intimidating. He's like, yeah, neat, and he just punches him, and destroys him in one hit, and, like, levels, like, everything, and you're like, what? All that build-up, all that everything, just for that.
I noticed that you do that a lot, though. What?
What?
You do that a lot whenever you're describing something.
Do I?
Yeah, whenever you're describing an animes or a Japanimation or whatever.
I like it. Okay.
Well, yeah, but I just noticed that thing. That's nothing really big. I just noticed that you keep doing that.
Oh man,
it's awful, and you should shut up.
Oh man,
I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
You shouldn't shut up, but I'm not taking back the first thing.
Anyway, what that thing has is backstory, and it has, like, have fun, I guess, is a thing with creating a world. You don't make a world that you're like, oh God, I gotta keep creating this world.
Yeah.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, it has to be something that
you gotta.
it has to be a world that if it interests you, it'll interest other people.
Yeah, that's like when I don't mean to like sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but when I wrote my book, I was like, hey, what do I like? I like this kind of stuff. I guess I know where I'm making my characters go next.
But remember, it was the kind of stuff you liked when you were 14.
Oh shit, that's right. I like the second book a bit more. I haven't published it, but it's all written, and I like it.
Okay.
Shit, I hate it.
Okay.
Dang it. Why'd you have to make me realize that it was all cringy and stuff? You know, let me just start reading the improv story, Brooks.
No, please.
Look. I'm just gonna...
I'm sorry, Zach.
No, let's...
Zach is...
Alright, on a cold, dark, and stormy night, Willem was sitting at home reading when he heard a knock at the door. Thinking it was his imagination, he let it be. Moments passed and a knock came again. He walked towards the door and opened it to see that it was his friend, Brooks. Brooks looked worn and hungry. Willem offered to share his humble abode, and Brooks just stood there for a while with a blank stare in his eyes.
Oh, God.
Willem, there's no time, he exclaimed abruptly. What do you mean? Willem asked. Just shut up and come! Brooks grabbed him by the shoulders. Ha! That's what she said, Willem snickered. Willem, that's actually a pretty good one. High five.
It was not a good one.
It wasn't.
It was not.
But we have to get going! Brooks pulled a scroll from his back pocket. What's that? Willem backed away in fear. I'll tell you on the way, Willem. Brooks glanced at the scroll. Get in the car! Willem, who is already... Alright, here's where... Alright, I guess that was...
We have an explicit tag on the podcast.
Yeah. I guess all of that I read up until now was us going, alright, is this how we're doing improv? Alright. And then I think it was me who started the trend that just led into oblivion.
I would not doubt that, because that's different from everything else in the improv story, which you are about to show an example of.
Willem, having already read his copy of Hardcore Horrors 9, the novelization 5 times before, agreed to accompany Brooks to his car, where their mutual friend Zach was sitting in the driver's seat. Zach adjusted his mirror to see the fucking limo full of tiger sharks behind the car. He turned to Brooks and Willem with haste. Fuck! Get in! He yelled. Willem scrambled to his feet. Willem scrambling to his feet after fucking up his face on the concrete from the slight trip coming out the door, ran into the car, not thinking twice. What the fuck is happening? Willem spazzed. Dude! Exclaimed Brooks. It was foretold in this scroll 1,000 years ago. It says that the great evil will rise to destroy humanity and can only be stopped by 3 noble warriors. We were originally going to get someone else, but we decided to settle for you.
They got eaten by fucking sharks. I remember that part.
Yeah, Zach shook his head and pulled both of them into the car in the most sexual way possible, slamming them into the passenger seat. Alright, it's time to get a goddamn move on. Zach slammed on the gas.
Oh yeah, I remember. There's a lot of homoeroticism.
There is so much homoeroticism. No. I did not sign up for this. Take me back right now, demanded Willem. The car stopped and Zach turned around in the most intensely sexual way possible. Shut the fuck up and deal with it. Zach floored down the one-way street. Why'd you turn around in such an extremely sexual way? We have to get going. We can only defeat the bad motherfucking evil if we find 3 swords of magic and shit. I still haven't read the whole scroll yet, so I think one's in a forest, one's underwater, and one's in a volcano or some shit, Brooks said, rereading the scroll in his hands. I'm just... I'll read a little bit more, but it's just... If they like it, then I'll read the rest.
I'll make it a recurring segment.
Okay.
We're doing 2 recurring segments today, both Writer's Workshop and the improv stories, sort of mashing each other together.
Do you have the second one anywhere?
I have it somewhere, yes.
Okay. That makes me laugh. Alright. Zach and Brooks, ignoring Willem's sexual position, continued to argue about where to obtain the first sword and who would get to use it. Just then, a tiger shark landed on the roof of a car. On the roof of the car. Son of a bitch! The insurance won't cover shark damage! Zach pointed to the glove box. Get a weapon out of there and take care of it! Zach stomped on the gas and they sped off into the sunset, never to be seen again. Except for 3 minutes later, when they arrived at the secret temple of the swords of magic and shit, as previously described by Brooks. Well, the last 3 minutes didn't make any fucking sense. Hang on, I'll take care of the shark, Brooks cracked his knuckles. No, Willem shouted. It's a living creature. Brooks didn't listen. He pulled a crowbar out from the glove box. I'ma beat his meat, he shouted.
No, it's not. I'ma beat this meat.
Oh, you're right. I read it wrong. Why do you know this so
Look, I retain things well most of the time. I can't remember most people's names, but I can remember a fucking improv story.
I'ma beat this meat, he shouted as he beat the roof shark slowly to a painful death. That's great and all, Brooks. Zach pointed to the sawed-off shotgun in the glove box. But really, I have gun insurance. Zach.
Okay, so something that became apparent, we got away from it, during book 2, we got away from it, but for book 1 and most of book 2, what would usually happen is we would write the parts where we talk.
Right.
We would go in order, we went, in a certain order, and we would specifically write the parts that we talked.
Right.
So usually, if Zach says something, it was usually written by you. If I said something, it was usually written by me.
Wait, did that happen in the first book or the second book?
First book and most of the second book was like that. And then, as the second book, when we're just like, hey, we're getting older, we can kind of write some actual stuff now.
Right.
Yeah.
But really, I have gun insurance. Zach took a left turn after many more left turns, never turning right. They arrived at the entrance to the chilly cave located in a volcano. The fuck is this? Brooks looked at the ice forming in the belly of a volcano. The three of them got out of the car hesitantly, unsure of what events would follow. Where the fuck are Willem began before he stopped in place, his eyes growing suddenly wide. I can hear colors that dance across a man's faith. We all go sometime. Are you okay, Willem? Brooks kicked him out of ice.
Oh, I remember this was the part when he completely derailed the story, and I had to go back and edit in a drug trip.
Yeah. Zach noticed that this huge bag of shrooms had been stolen from his pocket. Damn it, Willem, eating all the good shit, he sighed. Zach shook his head and peered down the frozen volcano. The first sword is the Tundra sword. It makes shit be frozen, yo. Zach popped the trunk of his car. I have some rope. Who wants to be lowered in a highly unstable frozen volcano? I'll go, shouted Willem. He was high on shrooms. He had no clue what Zach had just said. I'm cool with that. Brooks made a pun. It sucked. You want me to stop there? That's about halfway down the page of the first page.
Yeah.
All right.
Stop there.
All right. Tune in next time with this segment where we can find out if Willem survives in the volcano of ice and shit.
So, back to the world building. One or two more points I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting thing. I didn't think of this before, but now that after reading this, it makes sense. I actually have an example, a good example that utilizes it.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? Hang on. Here it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's if you think of a history for your world, history of your country, history of your world and everything, don't make a history that makes complete logical sense.
Complete logical sense.
I think of what I mean by this, and I'm sort of reading this off of the
thing.
Yeah, I'm reading this off the thing. Blah blah blah. Where is it? Yeah, in thinking of an imaginary world where the strongest side always wins the wars. The people who were in charge 100 years ago, their descendants are in charge now,
right?
And all this stuff happened in logical order. Doesn't take into effect that in actual history there's a lot of weird stuff that happened, a lot of quirks,
right,
and everything, and a lot of back and forth and all this stuff,
right.
And I think something that does it really well, a world that has a really detailed, a world that has a really detailed history and has a lot of quirks and a lot of, oh, that was weird that happened. It was this was a miracle that happened, that this person was able to survive this,
right, and
back and forth. And there's a lot of coincidences and everything because. It's the whole conceit that World War I happened over a sandwich.
What?
And everything. Okay, so history time. I'm also really into history. So
Brooks's History Hour.
Yeah, another
more
segment.
Like a couple minutes.
Okay, so World War I. It started when Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated.
Yes.
So he was in a parade thing, visiting this country that had a lot of complex history with his country that they took over. So there were some nationalists who. Were planning to assassinate him, but they were all really young guys, and they were all really bad at doing it, at assassinating.
Okay.
So they tried, and they failed, and they sort of dispersed, and he went, to I think, his driver got hit with something and was injured and put in the hospital, and they got out of there, and they went back to their hotel, and, the people who tried to assassinate him, they were like, scatter! And they ran, and there's a funny story. this one guy, one of the assassins, who was like just this young guy, early 20s. They're all early 20s and everything. Like, he's just like, okay, the police are on me. I'm not gonna let them take me alive. So he like takes the cyanide capsule and eats it, and then jumps off a bridge. Two things. One, cyanide he got a long time ago. It had expired and just made him sick. Wait,
I thought cyanide would have to kill you. I didn't think it expired.
No. If you have it for too long, it's gonna go bad and it's not gonna kill you. It's just gonna make you violently ill.
Didn't know that.
Oh, so he had a cyanide capsule, but he had it for too long. It was all worn out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he prepared for this by jumping off a bridge at the same time in order to make sure he died. Bridge was too low.
Oh.
He just landed and hurt himself, and they arrested him.
Oh, no.
And everyone else dispersed, and, like, one of the guys was just, like... There's, like, conflicting things, but everyone's pretty sure that this happened the way it happened.
Right.
So a guy was just like, oh, man, we tried to assassinate this guy, great victory for our country, but it didn't work out, so I'm just depressed. I'm gonna go have lunch at my favorite cafe. So he's, like, sitting on his favorite cafe, he orders a sandwich, and he's sitting there. What he doesn't know is that instead of leaving the country, like his advisor had told him, Archduke Ferdinand is a really good guy, and he wanted to visit the people who were injured in the assassination in the hospital.
Right.
And so his driver took him. His driver didn't know where he was because he was the replacement driver for the one who got injured. So he took a wrong turn, and they were just like, okay, we don't know where we are, so I'm just going to pull out a map. So I'm going to stop the car for a second, pull out a map. So he was... so the driver's looking at him, stopped on the side of a road. The driver's looking at a map while Archduke Ferdinand and his wife are sitting in the back just sort of chilling. They're parked right next to the cafe. And while the guy's eating his sandwich, he looks over and he sees that Archduke Ferdinand is just sitting there. He puts down his sandwich, pulls out his gun, and just assassinates them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how it was done?
And that set off World War I.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so if he hadn't been sitting... If a bunch of coincidences hadn't have happened... then World War I would have never happened.
So what you're saying is that's a good example of world building.
Well, it's just like how history is weird and how things like that can happen.
Yeah.
And I think a good example of this is Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire. Very detailed history, and it has a lot of weird quirks like that in it, which makes sense because it's like actual history.
Right.
I feel like everything's very detailed. There's a lot of detail on all these different people. Everyone has a sort of backstory, and there's a lot of stuff that happened before the series started. So, if you're going to have a history, have a detailed history that like we said, keep it vague. You don't have to mention every single thing, but you can have a sort of history in the back of your mind with a lot of quirks and a lot of unique things that make it interesting. So, that's a good aspect of world building. Anything else you want to add on world building?
No, I think... What we should do, though, is create a world for our favorite fan, our greatest
greatest fan.
Who has liked every single, commented and subscribed to every single video.
Yeah.
You just can't see it. They're pending.
Yes, they're pending.
Yeah.
Leho is the best of all of us.
Yes.
So, let's imagine a situation.
Yes, let us.
Leho is living at home,
Yes.
He's having a good life or a bad life, I don't know.
It's Leho.
Taiwan's a decent country, right? Sometimes it is. Okay,
There's elephants. There's
elephants. They have elephants.
Let's say he lives on an elephant reserve.
Yeah, and one day he's just like hanging out and everything, reading a magazine maybe, and he notices a weird thing in his wall.
Yeah?
Oh my god, it's a portal!
Oh, and it's weird.
Weird. He goes
in the portal.
He goes in the portal because he's curious. He's curious. He's curious like a cat.
A cat.
Leho
the cat.
Leo is like a cat.
Yes.
So he goes through, and let's imagine what world he would find himself in.
Ooh, alright.
Do you want fantasy or sci-fi? I'm leaning towards fantasy.
Yeah, I'm going fantasy as well. Fantasy's more fun than sci-fi in my,
I like both.
Yeah, I mean, but with fantasy, you can have, like, sci-fi-ish stuff, but they have to be done, like, with magic, kind of like floaty orbs instead of, like, Tesla coil thingamajiggies.
But sci-fi has space.
Sci-fi does have space, but we'll just go with fantasy this time.
Okay, yeah. So we're going fantasy.
Okay.
So, he finds himself in the great city of Dorvan.
Dorvan?
Dorvan.
Why Dorvan? You just got silent. How about all right, here we'll think of say an animal name.
Lion?
Lion. All right, I'm thinking of a spice. Cumin. All right, now give me a color.
Orange.
Orange. Well, orange is also a fruit. A fruit is also an apple. Apples grow on trees. It also fell out of a tree when it hit Isaac Newton on the head. And he was a very smart guy like Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking and Atomic Robo aren't friends, so when he went to Mars... I got it. Laplace.
So he's in the city of Laplace.
Yes.
Okay, so let's imagine that this is a fictional book about Liho visiting this world, written by we gotta come up with an author.
Zox for real dog.
Zox for real dog.
Zox for real dog.
I was gonna think of something like Donald Huxtabletington.
Huxtabletington?
Yes.
All right.
Donald Huxtabletington.
Okay. What?
Co-written by Zox for real dog.
Right. Okay. So you said he found himself in the city of Laplace?
In the city of Laplace.
Laplace.
He finds himself in the city of Laplace.
All right, and it is just the great royal capital.
It is the royal capital of the country of Dorvan.
Yep, if we're looking at it on a map, let's just say it's a little bit off to the right a bit, but kind of like smack dab in the center of this map. Because that's, we're in the royal capital.
So, real quick, last world building advice. People will be most interested in the aspects of your world if you introduce them through the characters. Like if we take Liho, and we don't say, oh, he's in this world. It has all of this stuff about it. You don't want to do that. You want to introduce the things as Liho finds out about them.
As Liho finds out about them. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking big old marble, like marble kind of, not marble, but like
Minas Tirith.
White.
That's another great world. Lord of the Rings. Very detailed, a lot of lore and history. Continue.
Like big old white building, like kind of cathedral-esque thing. It's a royal capital. It's got to have... I always think that the royal capitals of everything, they kind of have like a lot of religion in them. Because, oligarchy, is that what that is? Theocracy?
Theocracy would be it. Oligarchy is when a country's controlled by a small group of people.
Right, so okay,
Which is what we have. That was a joke. I have... Neither Zach nor I have any political views of any kind.
At all. I just think they're funny.
Yeah. Okay.
So theocracy is where Laplace has all of its power from. It's not like... No, it is actually. I'd say it's very wealthy here. Mm-hmm. And Leo's kind of...
It's the capital.
Leo's sticking out like a sore thumb. I mean, he wasn't wearing his Sunday best, let's say. Let's say he's just got like the t-shirt and the shorts on, like...
So, is this fantasy world, is it like a neo-medieval type thing, where it's like styled after like Middle Ages, but with fantasy elements? Like most fantasy is, like Elder Scrolls, Lord of the Rings, they're all sort of this Middle Ages type fantasy. Is that the world that Liho finds himself within?
I'm gonna say, let's do the time zone of Skyrim, like with all the magic and stuff like that, mythical creatures. Except let's take it 100 years in the future. So they're kind of out of the medieval phase, but they're just getting out of it. So there's still like experimental stuff happening.
Right, Renaissance era.
Renaissance, that's it. Yeah, they're learning. Like people are very
learning about guns.
Guns. Yep, they're experimenting with gunpowder itself. Like, oh, this is explosive. Neat. Well, okay.
Okay, I'm digging up what you're putting down.
Good.
Okay, next thing. So he's walking down the street.
He's seeing people on horses and stuff like that.
Horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah, and then there's let's throw a little bit of the fantasy throw in there. There's not trolls. What's a big thing? It's gotta. No, we gotta.
A giant.
A giant. Not like a super giant. But
no. Do super giants exist in this world? Off in the mountains.
Yes,
they live.
Off in the mountains.
Yes, super giants.
Super giants. Let's say this is a Biclops. The Biclops. It's a big old like kind of guy. He's just like doing all the grunt work. It looks like he's a slave. It looks like
is a Biclops like one eye on top of the other?
Yes, let's do that. I mean, we're Biclopsies.
No, I mean like
all right. So like one eye's above the other.
Yes,
like.
Vertical. Right. It's a vertical thing.
I don't know what evolution would have led to that being the superior thing, but that's what we're gonna have. That's what we're gonna have it be. All right, so the Biclops.
So
Right.
they're sort of doing the slave work.
Yeah. So now what? So what causes Lee Ho to be involved in this? Obviously, people are noticing him because he's like, oh, what's he wearing?
You need, yeah, people are sort of taking notice of him. You need some kind of event to trigger it.
Correct. Did Lee Ho have anything on him when he went into the portal?
He was just hanging out at his house, so I don't think so.
Oh,
something tiny bit cliched, but
right.
we could use it because, it's less of a cliche, more of a trope, and tropes are good.
Okay.
Tropes are not bad.
Go ahead.
So he's just walking down the market area,
right,
and sees a thief person running by, being chased by guards, and the thief's just like, here, this is yours now, and it's a bunch of food and stuff. He's like, what? And then the thief runs off, and the guards stop him. He's like, you stole all that food. And he's just like,
no, I think the guards aren't that stupid. This is the royal capital, so so they see, they're like, you helped him steal the food, didn't you? So he's not 100% in the pot, but he's in jail right now.
Right.
So Lee Ho,
he's a person of interest, so they take him in.
Yeah, so they have him there, and Lee Ho's just like, what? I just was listening to the Brooks and Zach 100 Years podcast. What's going on?
Yeah, that amazing podcast. And then the guy's, like, the prisoner's like, it's some crazy old man. He's like, oh, I don't know what that is.
No, the old man's like, oh, I listen to them too! Let me out! And he was like, never mind. So they're in the dungeon chambers. Let's say, what would be... Again, I'm going to say that the people in this royal capital are fairly well educated.
Yes.
Because this is where all the money goes and everything like that. They put the dungeon kind of just above the water level of the moat that's surrounding the main castle.
Right.
So if it rains a lot, it's going to flood it over, and that kind of makes a lot of bad for all the dungeon people. Yeah. So we just have Lee Ho, he's just sitting on the bed and stuff, and people are like, yeah, you stole quite a lot of stuff. A lot of food. We can look past that. Whatever. You were fast. Your buddy was fast at least, and he got away. So, where's the jewel? And Lee Ho's just like, what jewel? What jewel are you talking about? Is the 100 Years podcast the jewel? And like,
because that is a jewel. That's a diamond in the rough right there.
Oh well, it is definitely rough.
Oh, you're not wrong.
All right. So, what happens next?
Tune in next time. It's not going to be next week. It's going to be sometime in the future.
Yep,
we need to start writing down our segments.
Yes.
We have, or we don't. We don't write down our segments, and we just randomly make up segments. We have the Made Game segment. We have the improv story. We have the workshop, and now we have Lee Ho's journey.
I think we'll talk a bit more about the Made Game next
week.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, I imagine maybe somebody's interested in it. We'll probably get another follower who only views episode 8s of everything.
Oh, God. Anyway, so, yeah, we have Lee Ho's journey. We have the workshops. We have let's call them the creative workshops.
Creative workshops?
Yeah.
Look, yes. Lee Ho's legacy.
Lee Ho's, I was going to say Lee Ho's journey, but Lee Ho's legacy could be interesting, too. Lee Ho's legacy, Creative Workshops is another recurring segment, the Made Game, and Improv Story. Those are our recurring segments. We have other one-off segments like Brooks' History Hour, which is only a few minutes. That's the full title.
Brooks' History Hour, which is only a few minutes. But, maybe I'll bring a microphone next time, and then we'll see how the quality sounds.
Okay, yeah. So let's wrap it up. What have you been up to lately?
What I have been up to was I saw that Legend of Zelda Symphony, which was awesome.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that last time.
Oh yeah, it was great. I went there. There was a lot of good food. I went there pretty dressed up. Like, I never dress up, but I was like, you know what? It's a symphony. I should go there. Then there was a lot of nerds and neckbeards and stuff there too, who just wore like the Triforce shirts and stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm like, guys, it's a symphony. I can't be the only one who...
Be classy.
Yeah, and then I looked around, I'm like, alright, see, these guys are dressing up, that's fine. But then as I was listening to it, there was like a bunch of nostalgia hitting me and stuff, and my close friend, who is a lot more into Legend of Zelda than I am, he was like bawling the whole time. I'm like, oh, Christ. Alright, bud, you'll be fine. That's okay. But I'd probably do the same thing if there was like a Kingdom Hearts symphony. Oh, God, I would be... That's enough. We can't do any more. That was like, I think 15 seconds. I don't know. We can't.
I do not care about the copyrights. The coppers come at me. Hang on. I will take this knife, open my shirt, and cut my chest like so.
Oh God! Why, Brooks?
It is a message to the fuzz.
We've got another 99 years.
Yeah, it's just a small wound.
99 years of Brooks
That's
and Zach on the podcast. 99
99
years of Brooks and Zach.
Well, we're not even done our first year yet.
Okay, look. Take one down.
Pass it around. 99 still Brooks
on the wall. All right, you can find us on
5,200 podcasts on the wall. 5,200.
All right, you can find us on Twitter at Brave Snuggles and at Squeezy McCheesy and at...
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with anything, so you can just skip me.
And at 100 Years Podcast. Pinterest, I ignore that one.
At Squeezy McCheesy on Twitter is me. Tweet at me, ask me questions, just say, hey...
Why don't you put that in the description?
Yeah, why don't you put things in the description?
And he'll promptly respond to you.
I will promptly respond with you. Go fuck yourself.
That's a Brooks guarantee. You
Yeah.
can't put a stamp on it. Brooks, make a little sound effect sound that goes ching, sparkle, sparkle, or something like that. Brooks guarantee.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Come on, just imagine. Every time Brooks guarantee, it's like a stamp sound.
You're at Brave Snuggles, the
Yeah.
official Twitter of the podcast, which we don't use. We only occasionally use to post episodes there to remind people, hey, we're out. Is at 100 Years Pod.
Yes. We're on the Soundcloud if you're listening to iTunes.
And if you're listening to SoundCloud, we're on the iTunes.
Woo!
And finally, you can, if you want to talk to us or just send us a message or just, give us a shout out or something.
Or just shout at us.
Or just shout at us on the street if you see us walking by.
It's fine. We won't respond. We'll probably
We'll just we'll do the hand over on the side of the eyes.
Hey, you're Brooks and Zach from Brooks and Zach Podcast. We go, oh shit, somebody noticed us. Brooks, we gotta go.
Yeah, you can find us at, it's gonna be Brooks and Zach 100 Years at gmail.com.
Right. I will gladly accept any and all comments. And let me just check the script to see, where was this? Right, the sign-off. Are you ready for the sign-off, Brooks? It's the same as it always is.
Pre-scripted sign-off that we use each time.
Every time. All right. Sorry, let me just... All right, okay. Now, what you gotta do is close your eyes, breathe in deeply through the nose and out through the mouth. Now put your hands up like you just scored that touchdown. You are just making a V right now. You just keep straightening your arms and bending them. Bending straight. Don't even lift your head up. Shut them tighter. Keep your eyes closed from the truth. Just keep moving those arms. You can't stop. And somebody's going to call out to you. You don't stop. You got to keep it going. You don't stop. And then when they touch you, you stop. You freeze. You open your eyes as if you just woke up from a horrible bad dream. And then you look at them and go, 100 Years Brooks and Zach Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, guys. See you next time on the Brooks and Zach 100 Years Podcast, where I'm Brooks and he's Zach.
See ya.
Wait. Shit.
That was just a mess. That whole thing was a mess.
Everything. It's always a mess.